Hello, welcome back to another episode of 1111 Talk Show. If you're new here, and for those returning viewers, thank you for coming back again. And today, as you can see, we're doing a sit-down show at Ambient, and we have someone who's like such a talented singer, songwriter, and now an actress. I think I'll leave it to her later. Jurmey 𝗪𝗓𝗪, right? Why the X in your name?
Because the username 𝗔𝗕𝗪 was taken, so
oh,
so I added X.
Okay, so that's not part of the question. Thank you, Jurmey,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, being here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you know the drill. We'll be asking Jurmey our 11 questions, and yeah, are you ready for your first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I introduced you as a singer, a songwriter, and now an actress. I think that's what I know you as, and I think almost everybody know you as. But I want you to introduce yourself, but I want you to do it in a way, if you were to write a Tinder bio for yourself.
A Tinder bio.
Yeah, because I personally feel like when we make like, I don't know, like such profiles, like you tend to put your best foot forward. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, or make it interesting, yeah.
Okay. I would say I'm a little bit here and there. I was told that until I'm 30 I can kind of try everything out and then I can make a decision later on. So I sing at 𝗪𝗛𝗄𝗏 Studio Bhutan, and then I've started acting with 𝗪𝗛𝗄, and I'm also a researcher, so I really enjoy doing research on gender studies in Bhutan because it's a very unexplored concept, and I love traveling. So I'll start with that.
Okay, so that's Jurmey 𝗪𝗪𝗪 from her perspective. Yes. Okay, next question is, tell me about something very exciting that has ever happened to Jurmey.
I think just because of the contrast with what we've been living in for the past 2 years, I think the most exciting time for me was when I was traveling before, especially now that I think of it, I wouldn't do it at this age. Certain things I did, I'm quite scared thinking back of how risky it was, but I think solo backpacking was one of the most fun things I've done.
There's something about solo backpacking and even solo traveling, you know, like you can take your own time, you know, because when you're in a group or when you're traveling with someone, it's like, if I like something, will she like that or not?
Exactly.
You know, if someone likes something, that you kind of have to always make that compromises, but I think that always comes with companionship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also prefer, like, even when it comes to shopping, I'm someone who prefers doing it alone because I can take my own time.
Exactly.
Now that you brought up traveling, because I think everybody always knew you as someone like I was mentioning even before, as a singer and an actress, like traveling is something that I share as a passion as well. So what's traveling to you, and what is it about traveling that you love the most? And like you said, you know, like you said right now that something that's risky that you would not have, you wouldn't do now, like maybe you could touch a bit on that. It would be interesting.
I think it was like 2 years ago, so I was still in my late teens and a little bit naive, as in I didn't know how to measure the risks, but I went hitchhiking and couch surfing and literally whatever possible around Europe. And it was fun at that time, but now looking back and I'm watching all these documentaries and movies, it's a little bit scary. So something I had fun.
Yeah, wow. I mean, like, and would you recommend it to others? I mean, like, you know, because especially as a women traveler, like, that's something that even our parents, for that matter, you know, are always a little hesitant, because I did the same. Like, I backpacked alone and all of that thing. But would you recommend that for women travelers, or would you recommend women to travel more?
I would recommend like anyone to travel more, just because it's so fun and exciting. But after the documentaries, I would definitely recommend people to do their research first before you go anywhere.
Great. Great. Okay, now that we have the travel curiosity down, let's get back into one of your recent interviews. Okay, I think this is like, you talked about how you had to deal with your own insecurities in high school, right? And personally, to me, like that's something that I really resonated with because for the longest time. Like I think my biggest insecurity has also been my looks, you know. So in high school, like that's how I landed up turning more towards reading and books, and I think that's something you mentioned as well. And especially I think right now, your generation and our generation, I think we are online a lot, and there is a lot of pressure, especially with the, I feel like beauty standards that you, like females especially, have to conform to. And there has been a lot of research saying that young girls are succumbing to a lot of self-esteem issues, right? And you being yourself in the public space as a public figure, like what would you say to those girls like dealing with self-esteem issues and body image issues online because of this unrealistic beauty standards?
I mean, I was really young, but it took me a while to figure out that beauty standards are very subjective and honestly don't mean that much at all. So I was here till I was 13 in Bhutan, and I did not fit the beauty standard at all. It's always about like fair complexion and having this certain body, and it was weird because I was 2 years younger than everyone in my grade, so obviously puberty came in a little bit later, and it was difficult trying to make friends, feel comfortable, even go out. And then suddenly when I moved to my next high school in Australia, I realized nobody cared. Like it was all about owning your own style and looking good. And suddenly, like, I had classmates come up to me and go, "Hey, I spent like $90 on this tan to look like you. Am I dark enough?" And like, so I was just really confused with that. And I've been through it now. Now I don't really like bother as much, but still, when you're in the public eye and you're living in Bhutan, where people still do have a certain idea of what's beautiful, and you know, it's like as if you have to look this way if you want to sing, if you want to be on camera, you have to look this way, which to me doesn't make sense. So I feel like often it does come back to bite me. If I have any advice to anyone out there, it's just as long as you're healthy, you don't have any underlying health conditions, and you feel good like in your own skin, then you know.
Yeah, I think like you said, you have owned yourself now, and that shows a lot in how you express yourself. I think, like I was mentioning before, even off camera, like how you express yourself, your confidence, it's just like in how you put yourself out there, be it the way you dress, be it the way you sing, 'cause it's not something that's conventional. Your voice is like something that's unconventionally great. Yeah, and you know, even your personality and style, and I think that comes back to owning yourself, like you said. Maybe we can talk a little bit of this and that, okay? So just to lighten it up a bit. So it's either this or that, okay? So TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram usually, but lately I'm addicted to TikTok.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay. Dresses or pants?
Pants.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches. It's so ironic, but
okay. And last one. Reading a book or watching a movie like adapted from a book?
Reading a book, then watching the movie, then judging the movie. So,
okay.
On what they've missed.
I think I do that a lot. Cause it's such a huge risk, right?
Exactly.
Which is why, like, I think I'm not against saying it in a very like condescending way, but because I haven't read like what series is that now? The Star Wars. So yeah, I haven't watched that at all.
I've never seen it either. People get so surprised when you say you haven't seen it. But
yeah.
It's us.
Yeah, I agree on that. Okay, so since acting is something you have ventured into recently, I thought we could talk like first more on that new journey of yours.
Okay.
Yeah, since it's the new year. Okay, so how did Gangnam Girls and acting happen for you?
It was really random. I never thought I'd be in a movie before. At the same time, I've always enjoyed being on camera, doing music videos, doing whatever role I have to do there. So Jurmey just came up to me and said, "Hey, would you wanna act? I know this character. She reminds me of you." I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, let's give it a try." And I think being on set of Gangnam Girls was one of the best experiences of last year. I had such a good time with the whole cast and crew, and the whole experience was wonderful.
Did you have to audition or?
I didn't have to. None of us had to actually.
Okay.
We were all picked.
Okay, that's really nice. I mean, I think my next follow-up question was going to be that, you know, how like, because you play Menda, right? How much of Menda's character is representative of the real Jurmey?
Menda and I are very different and similar like, at the same time. I mean, we're similar because we're both a little bit naive, a little bit, we're both jokesters. So in Gangnam Girls, Menda is the main, I'd say she's the closest thing to a comedian in the movie. And in real life, I think, at least I try to be funny. But in terms of, I think Menda's a little bit weaker than I am. Half the time I was judging my own character. So Menda doesn't realize when to stop giving kindness and compassion, and I feel like that's something I would like to have in myself. But at the same time, I think she can be very naive sometimes. So
yeah, I really also liked how you said Gangnam Girls was one of my best experiences last year. You know, because usually you're always used to hearing people say it was like one of my best experiences in life. And like how you said it is last year, and then I could look forward to more such experiences. I think that's really like optimistic and really nice.
Manifesting it.
Yeah. So like you said, acting just happened, and then I think you did great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you see yourself more in movies now, or can we expect to see you more in movies?
I want to. I think part of the reason why I never thought I'd be able to make it on the big screen before was because, especially in Bhutan, you know, there's an ideal type of actress that has to be represented. Like, they have to look a certain way, speak a certain way, and I don't know if I want to be represented in that way consistently, but I think with Samu now and more creative directors coming up with various roles, like, you know, with issues and real life stories, then I really want to continue and see which other stories I'll be able to tell. So,
I think it's really nice, like how you bring all this meaning to whatever you do, you know, like, because a lot of the times it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, but you don't really put so much thought into it, right? But I think you kind of know what you are doing for what. Yeah, it's so refreshing to see. Yeah. Okay, and now let's get back into singing, since
Sure.
you are more of a singer when I first knew you. So which was the first song that you learned the full lyrics to and performed for a real audience?
Ooh, no, this is gonna go way back. Probably nursery rhymes, because I mean it would be the first song I learned the full lyrics to. So I actually started singing in my family because when I was born, my dad wasn't here, he was in London, and everyone still makes a joke out of it. So instead of sending back home diapers and baby clothes, he went to a CD store and bought like all the albums of his favorite artists and sent it home. And my mom was like, "What? Why?" But I grew up listening to them, and whenever I would sing, you know, in the family, I'd always get the full attention, and everyone would be super excited and pull out. You remember those big video cameras during that time? So I think it started there in the living room.
So okay, so your first audience is your family.
Yes.
Who's behind the big video?
Appa.
That's so nice to hear. I mean, like, I think parents being able to nurture that potential talent in their children.
They've been supported.
Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so do you have any? Because I think like you have just released like one single last year, right? And then recently I saw you in
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there's such a like, because you know that song, but how you brought it to life, the entire team was really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like something because I love to dance because it makes me feel so free. So I think that's very danceable to me and it's done really well. Like, can we expect more new releases from you this year?
Definitely. I'm actually working on a few right now.
Okay.
So even as an artist, I have a very good mentor, 𝗔𝗕𝗏 from 𝗪 Studio,
Yes.
and he's kind of told me that right now it's okay, like you have that space to try out different genres and see which one works best for you, and once you find that, you can really like pursue it seriously. So right now I'm just trying all sorts of genres. I have an EDM track coming up in
wow.
𝗏𝗂𝗏, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, because I love EDM. I think grew up listening to My Chemical Romance.
Yes, back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. So okay, when can we expect the new releases? Like,
I mean,
when should people look out for it?
Now that we've been told there is not going to be any more lockdowns, then soon, definitely soon, because I'm working on it.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Yes.
Okay, what's because I think in one of your recent interviews also you mentioned, right, how like your songs tend to be more patriotic.
Yes, yes.
And then how you moved like towards that rational romance. That's how it's
Rational romance.
Yeah. What's a writing process like for Jurmey, and what inspiration do you draw from?
I mean, before I would only write patriotic songs because I mean that was the only thing I felt from my heart, and I think I was too young to have any other experiences I could write about. But then after a while I started to sing commercially, and I felt like that kind of posed a challenge for me. I felt like a creative block because I was only writing what I had to write for the clients. But thanks to the lockdowns, I've been back at it. So I think now it's all about growth. The more you understand yourself and life, you know what to write. So if I ever have any inspiration, I'll sit down and just write it out like how I'm writing in my diary. No rhymes, nothing, just like complain, write. And then I'll like structure it and put it into a song.
Ah, great! The way you said it, you know, how you write it in your diary to rant. I use Twitter as my ranting platform. I was wondering if I could translate some of my tweets into a song as well.
You could, and if it's angry enough, it could be a diss track, a rap, whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like see if I were to ask like Jurmey as the singer or Jurmey as the actress, which one would you be and why? Since we have covered.
I
like,
mean,
both
I
of
don't
this.
think I would really use either word to represent myself. I'm actually working full-time on a startup right now, so I'm going on this entrepreneurial journey. But if I could use one word to describe myself, it's creative, and I use that in everything I do. It's kind of been making the bread and keeping me going till now, so I'd use that word.
Okay, creative. Great. Okay, so do you want to talk more about your startup, or is it already?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So I recently started working on my own startup, going on this entrepreneurial journey. It's a digital content creation platform called Yalama Studio. It stands for Yalama Studio. So during lockdown, I found myself watching a lot of BuzzFeed, and Vox, and Dead, and whatever platform just to, you know, whether it's to learn or to just watch it passively, have fun. All the content was there. And then I found myself watching 𝗏𝗏𝗏 a lot. Do you know 𝗏𝗏𝗏?
Yes.
Yeah. And I realized I was watching that constantly because there was a Tibetan girl there. Her name was Tenzing.
Ah.
So I thought to myself, why am I so glued to this channel and this series with this host? And then I realized it's because she's the most similar and relatable person to me that I see on these platforms. And then I thought about the Bhutanese audience and knew how good it would be if they also had a page where they could just go, check out, find relatable content. And also, I don't mean to generalize or stereotype, but if you look at media in Bhutan, you'll find a lot of stories where rural lives and rural stories are like romanticized. or urban stories are a little bit represented only in one way. Whereas I feel like living in Thimphu, there's just so many facets of Thimphu, like so many people with different goals and ambitions and experiences that I feel there's enough content out there to show, and so I'm currently working on that.
Yeah, I saw that. I think, and like you were mentioning, I really love the content, especially I think one of my favorites is the Bhutanese experience of your roommates.
Yes.
So I was like,
Did that scare you a bit?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think everyone who has like stayed in a boarding school will at one point have a similar story, you know what I mean?
Yes. So it's exactly what we're going for. We want people to see things they can relate to, talk about it on a healthy digital platform, because also I think social media in Bhutan is getting a little bit difficult to manage with all the fake accounts and the forums and the negativity. So if we can contribute a drop in that, especially what you guys are doing with 1111 too, so I think we're all here for the same cause.
Yeah, true that. So check out Yalama Studio on Instagram, because I think it's really nice. Like I was mentioning, because you really have that less is more thing going on there. Yeah, so you're funny at the same time, like you get across the point. And I think as a digital content creator myself, I think that's something I really like it. So if you are someone who needs content creation for your online businesses, I think you know whom to contact.
Yalama Studio.
Might as well do it when we can.
Thanks for the ad.
Okay. So next is, I think my next question was going to be that what was the most critical comment or word someone had said about your work? Now, be it as an actress or as a singer or even with your new startup, and how do you usually deal with that?
I think in all of them, whether it's acting or singing or when I start, I get the same criticism, and only that is that it's not culture. Like, I'm not representing the culture properly, and culture and what's with your language. And even if I do ads and voiceovers, people are always saying like that's not how you speak. So how I deal with that is, I mean, if I can, if it's feasible and if it's within my reach, then I would always try to advocate and educate those around me. Not that I'm in a position to, but at least explain my side. Because I mean, I think the way Bhutanese people view culture is very rigid, and it's very stagnant in a way. For them, culture is something that has to be preserved, done the same way, And while that's that's ideal, when you speak of it, it sounds magical. It's not possible, because culture, it has to evolve to survive, like everything else. When the whole world is changing at this pace and we're connected with globalization, they cannot expect me to do it the same way. And I feel like actually adapting culture to what is feasible, comfortable, and relatable is the better way of preserving it than trying to go against everything new and hold it in. And I think when we speak of culture, we generalize it to only traditional culture, whereas we live in Bhutan, it's so diverse. There are so many subcultures, there are so many youth and young people who are actually going through the advent of globalization. We have to cope, we have to compete, we have to survive. So I think our attitude has to change with that. So, I mean, I try to tell them, but if I can't, then I'm just doing my job. So.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean, because we have to be able to accept that change is the only constant at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
And it's much better to make someone adapt to something than enforce.
Exactly, and it's more sustainable.
Yeah,
so. But it's hard to get that message across at this moment.
Yeah, I really understand, because I think we had someone comment like, it's apparently the name is 1111 Bhutan, but there is nothing Bhutanese about it, because I'm not wearing Kira, I'm not speaking Dzongkha, so yeah, someone had commented that.
I mean, if your target audience is people abroad and you want to show them what Bhutan is, then you can't go around speaking 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗏 𝗪𝗏 and have them understand it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so now Next thing is I don't really like calling it an advice, but one thing you would really say to someone who is looking into venturing into music, maybe as a profession.
Okay, so if you're already a musician and you're going into it as a profession, I have nothing to say in terms of genre, technique, skill. I'm sure you've got it hands down. But if you're planning to do it in Bhutan, the most important thing is to understand the business side of it. Set your rates, write down a contract that you can give every client, and stick to your own, whatever you deem is important. Like, you know, you don't have to listen to people all the time. Personally, for me, I've had instances where obviously not getting paid. I think that's quite common for musicians in Bhutan. You know, like you're made to work and then you don't get paid and then they block your phone. I mean, it happens a lot here, and it's happened to a lot of other fellow singers. I think it's important to kind of dictate to the market that they're not giving you an opportunity, they're using your talent. So when I started to commercialize my work and, you know, take in clients for music, I had the weirdest experiences. I've had you know, people asking me to sing for films, and then when I reached there, them being like, oh no, but female singers don't sound like that. You should sing in a higher scale, in a higher pitch. Like, try to do that. No, you sound too Western. That's not okay. Like, you know. And then at the end, they won't even pay. Like, so, and I think the worst instance was, I mean, a lot of these happened. And if you are going to venture out into music, set your rate, be clear, seek mentorship if you want to. I think that other singers who have been in the field longer will be ready to help you. It's just that right now people don't understand that this is our business and our livelihood, and because it's intangible, so they don't understand it. But as an artist, you should defend yourself and also protect your copyright.
Yeah, I remember 𝗏𝗂𝗧𝗏 like talked a lot on that copyright.
We're working on really advocating for awareness on copyright, but it's getting there slowly.
Yeah, I think gradual change. Yeah. I think I really liked how you put it. You know, like being professional. I think it all boils down to that. You know, both from the singer's part or the artist's part, as well as from the client's part. You know, like I think sometimes even like when clients having, like you said, having a package for yourself and having a contract always works.
Exactly.
Whenever, like, sometimes when I ask, like, okay, so what can you do for us? What value can you bring to my brand? Like, they're lost. You don't want to be like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, like, you want to be able to pitch in such a way that, like you said, you are selling your talents.
Exactly. They're not giving you an opportunity anymore. So.
Yeah, I think that's something I feel like anyone with any talent at any age can use. It's a life skill, I feel. Yeah.
Protect yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So now I think we're almost towards the end. Yeah. So as a singer, like, do you have any dream collab in Bhutan?
I wouldn't say a dream collab, but somebody I wanted to collaborate with for a long time and it hasn't happened yet is JD. I am a big fan of JD, so I kind of want to get into his style. It's very unique.
Okay, and Dichin said that her dream collaboration in Bhutan would be you. What's your reaction to that, Dichin Yuden Lama?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Dichin Yuden's voice, and I think that's a very good idea. I like it.
So we hope that happens with JD or Dichin.
Okay, I would love that.
Yeah, we would be very excited to look forward to that.
Alright,
yeah.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. Okay. What's your philosophy on life and living?
I don't know, I just kind of go with the flow. I don't believe in like predestination and all of that, but I do think that you kind of trust your gut feeling and then it takes you there. You have the best intentions in mind and it takes you there. For me it's worked, so I don't know how it would be.
How it would be for others. Yeah. And as a, I think, sort of like a last message. Do you have any messages to people listening to us?
As an artist, I would like to ask everyone to please be more professional and empathetic when you're working with artists. These are young creative minds that are trying to do something, trying to translate their creativity into content, into music, into art for you. So please treat them with dignity. Treat them as a client, a potential partner, someone you're hiring, but never ever treat them as someone you're giving an opportunity to, and just don't exploit talents. Thank you. Just kidding.
Okay, so that's for the clients.
That's for everyone out there.
Okay, thank you so much, Jurmey.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, I think we have bumped into each other a couple of times because we have, I think, many common friends. But it has always been like, hi, Anju, But I think just getting to know you, sitting down here, I think it's been a pleasure.
It's been great. Thank you for having me.
And it's really refreshing to see like someone so young, like with her head on her shoulder, like I was saying, you know what you want to do, but for what? And I think that's something,
That's something sometimes that I struggle with as well, but I aim to be like that. So.
But I think it's nice, like, 'cause you know, like what you're doing for once. So I think it's really refreshing to see someone so young, so talented, doing so much, and being so sure of who you are and what you're doing. So yeah, we look forward to your new releases, and we will come back to you when the songs gets released. And don't forget to check out Yalama Studio.
Thank you.
On Instagram if you would like to outsource your content creation. Yeah. Thank you, Jurmey.
Thank you for having me.